Hey, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here, straight up 8 o'clock, February 15, 2018, and taking a look at the Earthquake Live 3D, Earthquake 3D, and some data over here to the left side of the screen, also some solar weather data included in the live stream. Most of this update video is going to be in regards to the activity that is occurring over at Yellowstone National Park. I believe what we're seeing is a intensifying earthquake swarm there in the northwest corner of Yellowstone National Park. These seismograph stations right here not showing a whole lot of activity right now. We do have one right here at Grant Village, Yellowstone National Park, a ways away from the swarming, so to speak, not super far away, but it does pick up these larger earthquakes that you'll see on this map that I'm going to pull up right here. This here is the overview of the Yellowstone National Park. A really cool site to check out if you're interested in the activity up at Yellowstone National Park. This here is the URL that you can check out. It is included in the daily update videos description, so go check out the link below. But this is pretty wicked looking, guys. I've been, like I say, I've been following Yellowstone National Park earthquakes and swarms for, well, quite a while. I think ever since the big one back in 2008, I believe. I think it was late 2007, early 2008, somewhere around there, when they had that right around Christmas time, intense earthquake swarm, and that was mostly confined over here towards Lake Yellowstone on the eastern side of the park. But most recently, these swarms that we've been looking at and seeing in the park have been in the northwest section of the park itself there, and no different than this activity that's occurring today. Although, I mean, we just want to keep an eye out and make sure that we don't see any other kind of migration, so to speak, over here. I was looking over here at Parker Peak on the way eastern side, and I can see a small confined earthquake, this little blue spike right there, showing up on that seismograph. So, you know, it's there's just, I believe, a lot of pressure going on right now. I don't believe it's magma related or uplift of any kind. I believe this is just the seismic activity that's occurring in the region there. But looking at this one here, Maple Creek, this is what I mean by wicked looking. It's really wicked. All these little spikes and sharp earthquakes. You know, we get these were a couple twos. I'll go over with the magnitude with you here in just a minute. But most of them definitely been under 2, but these little spikes right here are just interesting. I mean, it reminds me, and I got a picture in my head that there's a lot of pressure, a lot of force being applied within the region, and these cracks, these pops, so to speak, earthquake pops, are just the rock cracking and breaking. You know, it just, I picture kind of like a, you know, maybe like ice cracking, or, you know, when you step on ice outside, right, and there's still some liquid water underneath, you get that cracking sound, popping. That's what I picture what's going on here, but with the rock. You know, it may just be my imagination. Nah, maybe not my imagination, but, you know, that's just my visual. Who knows? But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely wicked looking, and it's definitely something worth monitoring right now, as this is showing up well defined on the northwest corner of the park, and also being picked up also over here in Yellowstone, or Lake Yellowstone, I should say. Although this one right here looks like it might be confined directly to Lake Yellowstone there with the sharp activity. I have to check that and compare it to the other graphs over here. But like Idaho down here too is even picking it up. So it's definitely a widespread activity, earthquake swarming in the northwest corner of the park here. And like I said, to me it looks as though it's intensifying. I know we can go back over here a day ago. Let's go back to previous day here over on Valentine's Day, and it was pretty quiet. I want to go back one more day, and we've seen a little bit of activity right here in the northwest corner where the current swarming is taking place here. You can see these little spikes and whatnot. This here was on the 13th, so a couple days ago we did have some activity. 14th was pretty quiet, but right now definitely yeah, I don't need to say it too much, but it's definitely kicking up here. We'll see what the USGS has to say about this current swarm. Like I say, these are not big earthquakes, but we normally see similar type setup where we see these sharp earthquakes coming in, and then the earthquakes get a little bit bigger over time. Each swarm, you know, is a little bit different, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one very closely and see what she wants to do. I mean, I don't think there's any fear to think that there's any kind of impending eruption. Of course not, because swarms are common, correct? We've seen them in the past. But it is something to monitor and watch and see how these things develop. So no panic coming from this current earthquake swarm at all. But it's definitely fun to watch. Here is the volcanoes.usgs.gov website showing recent activity in Yellowstone National Park. I'm sure a lot of you guys have this website pulled up on your computer. But I wanted to go over a couple earthquakes right here. They don't list them all. They don't list all the small spike pop earthquakes that I call them. You know, the almost like a fracture pop. But they do list the twos. I think the biggest one that they had right there today in the park. Let me go and double check here. Looks like maybe a 2.58. At 8.44 kilometers. That's this earthquake right here. Magnitude 2.58. And then a couple other twos. And those are clearly visible. In we can go to Holmes Hill right here. And you can see these right here. I'm guessing those right there are the 2.5 and the other smaller twos right there. But also, like I say, there's many others that they have not reported. And they will get to them in due time, as these are probably, a lot of these little spikes are under a 1, no doubt, but it's definitely a cluster of them and something to watch very closely. And you can see right here Yellowstone National Park outlined right here, and of course the majority over here in this part of the park. To me, it looks like it's a little bit further down than what we've seen at the last swarming last year. I believe they had a pretty good swarm going on there, and that lasted for, wow, man, I can't remember how long it lasted. It was like the longest swarm that Yellowstone National Park actually had. I remember every day doing some earthquake video updates on it, and it was a good couple months. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was by far the longest earthquake swarm that I've seen, and it definitely outbeat the 2008 swarm by a long shot. So we'll see how this one does. Like I say, it could kick off you know, today and tomorrow, and then it might just all of a sudden stop. But we will keep an eye on it, and I am going to pull up a closer station to this activity than I have right now. But this is a pretty cool site to check out. I was checking out some of the deformation GPS monitoring of the area, but most of the data that I'm looking at is pretty gosh darn old. But this gives you like a general idea of, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Let's see what the date is on this. 215. Okay, it is. I guess it's kind of current. And this shows like a general uplift, I guess, and the displacement, whether it be northeast, west, south, whatever, in this graph here, which is pretty cool. There's nothing that shows any kind of spike or any kind of type of warning. But you're more than welcome to, you know, jump on there and look. I don't want to cover all these because I don't want to make this a super long update. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff to check out here. There's like temperature of the springs, and let's see, past 30 days. Go up here and check this out. Yeah, but if you got a few minutes, you should go over this and check it out there. Pretty cool looking graph here. And then once again, you can adjust certain stuff down here from like days ago to the magnitudes and whatnot at this URL site right here, volcanoes.usgs.gov, and then go ahead and find the Yellowstone and then monitoring map. And they got a couple different things down here: gas, thermal, remote sensing, a bunch of cool stuff, no doubt. I'll probably go over this a little bit more after the update video. And like I say, it's interesting activity. Rest of the globe. Once again, this is 3 combined sources here: USGS, EMSC, and also GeoNet earthquake activity. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of activity right now. That big cluster of 5s and 4s that was occurring over here along the western Pacific plate over here, looks like it may be backing off just a tad bit. Does not look like it's as intense. But the main focus right now is Yellowstone National Park with their earthquake swarm. A little bit of activity up there near Alaska, Aleutian Islands region, but nothing on the large scale at the moment. But yeah, like I said, guys, you guys have been on here all day. I've been jumping in chat off and on and seeing the Yellowstone discussions. But one thing you got to remember, there's no panic. There's no need to panic either, because there's no any kind of, there's no warning signs. There's no major uplift. There's no multiple 5.0 earthquakes or 6s or 7s occurring in the park. So I think we're okay, just sit back and watch and see exactly what she does at the moment. So, you may be seeing some videos out there on YouTube about Yellowstone blowing, and they always come up around this time whenever they have an earthquake swarm going on. But you need to ignore the fear porn and just stick with the facts and look at the graphs, and the graphs don't lie. So anyway, folks, like I say, I'm going to get off here and get back to the live stream and put up a closer station to the earthquake swarm that's going on at Yellowstone National Park onto the data display. That way we can get some real-time earthquake data coming in from that specific location there in Yellowstone National Park. So we'll chat at you all later. Hope you guys have a good night there, and come on over to the live stream, which we are doing right now, and join us in for some chat. All right, peace out, guys.